have Jeffrey Osborne. The song's called Stranger. But I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. 10:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, September the 11th, 2018. We're going to explain it. We're going to explain the best way we can what this deal means for you. ESPN, Frank Warren, from my understanding, still Al Heyman fighters Lee Selby, Carl Frampton, and James Degale. For example, I was on my way home, Earl driving, and WBO number one contender Jessie Hart had called me up. So I look at the phone, look at the number, and I'm like, oh, I'm wishing I was at my desk at the time because I could have done the interview then. But he was talking about that we may get James Degale versus him. And possibly it could be for a vacant WBO 168-pound title. I know it's all crazy, but that's a whole different video I'm going to do. And hopefully I'll be able to talk to Jessie Hart in the next couple of days. But what this deal means is it's huge because that means that for somebody like me, or for the people who have the money and the people who are not, assholes when it comes to supporting the sport, understand that if you're a hardcore boxing fan, think back to how difficult it was for you just 3 years ago to be able to watch fights like Chris Eubank Jr. versus Billy Joe Saunders versus Chris Eubank Jr., or Froch versus Groves 1, Froch versus Groves 2. Anthony Joshua's up-and-coming fights. Now, with the help of the Zone and what we're talking about with ESPN Plus, now over here in the States, between the two, for $15 a month, we get every single card from over there from the two biggest promoters, undercards and all, like Daniel Dubois, O'Hara Davies, Nicola Adams. That's the first card that's going to be airing over here in the States. It's been official for quite some time, October the 6th. So it's going to be a midday card. And I'm wondering if they're going to do it on ESPN. In fact, I have the press release right here. Let's go take a gander. Let me see what's of importance in here. Let's see. Frank Warren's Queensberry Promotions and Top Rank are proud to announce an exclusive landmark multi-year licensing agreement that will bring the best events from the United Kingdom and Europe to boxing fans in the United States and Canada. Okay. So this is just talking about it's going to be on ESPN and ESPN Plus. So I'm guessing, the question you're asking is, okay, will all the fights be on ESPN or which ones will be on ESPN Plus? Well, Bob Arum did an interview with the Boxing Voice earlier today, and he talked about it in the past. If you don't know, this guy right here is really heading top rank. Obviously, it's Bob Arum's, but he's the future Todd duBoef. But what I'm saying is this. Terence Crawford wasn't too cool with the idea of fighting on ESPN Plus after being on regular ESPN. But the way Bob Arum explained it was that, between him and Lomachenko, one fight, depending on how big it is, will be on regular ESPN. The next on ESPN Plus, then ESPN Plus. That's how their deal works. But in the case of, let's say, for example, we get a Carl Frampton versus Oscar Valdez, but that fight takes place over in the UK. They might fuck around and instead of put it on ESPN Plus, put it as it'll be a midday card over here in the States, and also you'll be able to watch on ESPN Plus. So this deal is big. Like, ESPN is really investing in boxing now. We've talked about the Showtime deal. We've talked about the Fox deal. We've talked about ESPN signing a new, revamping or getting a bigger deal with ESPN a couple of weeks ago. We talked about Frank Warren and this deal with BT Sport a year ago, however long that was ago, I forgot. Yesterday we took a look at the Zone's website. Let's go look around ESPN Plus. Let's go look around ESPN Plus. But let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Oh yeah, here's the first show right here. Under the agreement will be a stacked card October the 6th at the Morningside Arena in Leicester, England. The main event will feature WBO number 2 contender Jack Ogato Catterall versus O'Hara Davies, 2-time Olympic gold medalist Nicola Adams, Daniel Dubois. But they don't say if it's going to be on regular ESPN or ESPN Plus. That'd be crazy if they debut on regular ESPN. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Let's go over here. Let's go look at Frank Warren fighters. Billy Joe Saunders. Now, this is, a part of me is feeling that Billy Joe Saunders may end up with Eddie Hearn sometime in the next year or so because of, their buddy, relationship at the Android press conference. And also they got some type of deal done where this is going to be on Sky Sports and not BT. So we don't know if Billy Joe Saunders is going to be featured on ESPN or, ESPN Plus. Tyson Fury, we know that he's going to be fighting on Showtime. He's likely not a part of this Frank Warren ESPN Plus deal as of now. But if he does win, unless Showtime makes a strong bid for him, he'll likely be an ESPN Plus fighter. I mean, ESPN or ESPN Plus fighter over here. We're just going to say ESPN. Let's go back to Carl Frampton. You got Carl Frampton, Al Heyman fighter, WBO interim champion, who's taking on Josh Warrington later on this year on pay-per-view. The winner will be the IBF and the WBO interim and mandatory for Oscar Valdez. So, it's going to be interesting to see if Carl Frampton, I guess he's going to be staying with Frank Warren, and I guess you could say we're going to be seeing Carl Frampton on ESPN. I think we're going to be seeing Carl Frampton on ESPN. You got Josh Warrington, of course, you're going to see him on, he's a part of the deal. Terry Flanagan right now is in the World Boxing Super Series, but when he returns, or, if he loses to Regis Prograis, you can see him on ESPN Plus in the next year. You got Liam Smith. He's going to be on ESPN. Why I keep saying ESPN Plus? We're going to say ESPN, all right? And sometimes ESPN Plus, depending on if the fights are good enough. Tite's in the World Boxing Super Series. Number 1 contender for the WBO, Anthony Yard, is there. And these are the fighters. Lee Selby is also an Al Heyman fighter. I'm wondering if it's going to be all of Frank Warren fighters. Because Frank Warren can be kind of, fishy when it comes to that kind of stuff. Of course, all of our fighters are going to be on there, except, Tyson Fury for the Wilder and, Lee Selby maybe fighting over on Showtime and Carl Frampton because of this, so. I haven't seen Liam Williams in God knows how long. Bradley Skeet. Cursed with that last name. Daniel Dubois. And this is the roster. This is the roster. Big question mark around Billy Joe, though. Big question mark. Here's ESPN Plus. I don't like this. I'm going to be doing a video. This is actually going to be my next video, actually. Well, probably the one after the next. I don't like how they put these, press conferences and weigh-ins, behind ESPN Plus. Doesn't make any sense. So Aram's goal is, or what he was talking about, which makes sense, is that streaming is the future. And Top Rank is ahead of the curve in regards to that. And since they may not have all of the, a lot of fighters, a heavy stable like Showtime and all that, then they want to bring international fights, like all day every day. For example, fights at 7 o'clock in the morning, fights at 4 a.m. depending certain places. You know, midday cards on Saturdays, depending on if there's a Russia fight on Wednesdays. You know, Thursdays. So, like, depending on how you looking at it, with what Top Rank is bringing us now and trying to build up their stars, because let's face it, they're not going to get any Heyman. I think it's safe to say that it'll be shocking if they get any Heyman fighters after Heyman and that new Fox deal. Same thing with Eddie Hearn. Before, it was like, okay, well, Eddie Hearn might be able to get, because, you know, Showtime don't have the money or the dates and everything. It's different now. So now, with what they're bringing us with, you know, the international boxing and working with what they have, you know, they're still a very, very powerful, you know, technically still the number one most powerful promotional organization. However, when you look at power, you may say, well, how can you be powerful if you don't have the fighters? It depends on how you look at it, you know? I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. This is all good news for me because, and media as well, because it makes it so easy for us to cover fights. I remember when I first started seeing that, like, media people from Boxing Scene and Ring TV would be on Twitter like, anybody got a stream for the fight? You know, so now, like, this is a gift. I've been begging for this for years now. So to be able to get these fights and, you know, just to be able to get on here and click or watch on my phone and cast to one of my TVs or something, easy work. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.